Hello. So, recently all the deaf community have been campaigning for having clear face masks. There's been the Where's the Interpreter campaign, and that's been really good. I really want that to carry on to make sure we improve the situation. And also the BSL Act, for the BSL language to become law, that is so important. That's like the priority. Today I was watching Boris Johnson's announcement and talking about the national lockdown, and I was watching it and I was thinking there was a lot linked to education about schools being closed and remote learning and such. And it really made me think, we as a deaf community and the education of deaf children, we really need to look at that and think about that. Historically, people who were deaf, it didn't matter whether they signed or whether they spoke or whether they're profoundly deaf or hard of hearing, some would go to a mainstream school, but most they would go to a deaf unit or a deaf school. And that was to make sure they were bilingual, their language. They had the sign language, they listened to speech and lip reading, and they were bilingual. And communication, it is number one. Being able to communicate, that is how the education works. So now it's changed, and there's many deaf children. Doesn't matter whether they're signers or speakers, they're going to mainstream school, and the communication is being lost. The communication, that is really important, and the children becoming isolated. Can they, fully understand the education? I'm not sure. Some, maybe yes, they are successful. Some, maybe they fail. Maybe the education isn't clear for the children because the communication isn't clear and they're struggling to learn. So for now, we're doing remote learning with the schools closing. And it just made me think about recently and how the children in the UK, the deaf children, have been suffering through the barriers to communication. They've become stressed, isolated, lonely. And I think it's really important for us all to support those children and look into that. It is so important for us to campaign for their rights. Also, the other thing is, in the UK, we have deaf people, we have hearing people that can sign, and it's important that people that can sign are there to support the deaf children. Doesn't matter if they're speakers or if they prefer to sign. The communication is so important for them to learn, and they'll learn more from the communication. There's BATOD UK and the Teachers of the Deaf, the Education Department and the government. They really need to look at the deaf children throughout the UK, because I don't want them to become isolated and not be able to communicate and not be able to learn remotely. We don't want these deaf children to get lost in the education system. They need support. Those children, they need support. They need the right education, the right procedures, and the way to do that is through proper communication. That's something we all need to think about. Thank you.